Greetings, friends. It's me, Wayman, and come on, do a video to Mark McNeil. Atheist objection number 1: prayer doesn't work. And Mark McNeil has started to do the 50 arguments against the existence of God. And I looked in the comments. Some extreme atheists are getting kind of rough with him, name calling, and I think that the real dialogue happens to people who have left the belief system and kind of understand the theology a little bit better than those who were never in it and just totally hate on the whole thing. So I think there's a difference. So you have atheists who've never been to church. They can read biblical literature and educate themselves about it. However, the language is definitely different in how they project it, and a lot of times they forget how the church views those types of terms. Not every denomination is going to view the same things in the same way. So calming it down a little bit, I just want to come on and have some sort of dialogue on why I don't think prayer works in certain ways that maybe Christians do. Got a beer? Whenever you talk about religion, you should have a beer. So let's get into it. I think that, as I said before, a lot of times what atheists and non-believers, I'm agnostic, are really frustrated with is the double standard that is projected to the outside world versus what's preached to believers. And a lot of psychological damage happens, I believe, to Christians, and they have to deal with that, is when they so badly believe that they're righteous and just, and their prayers go unanswered, or they have a test of faith and that goes unanswered, then they believe, something's wrong. However, I think in the ancient mind, and you're talking about context, how we view prayer today and how we think about prayer today is not at all what the Greco-Roman Jewish people thought about prayer. Largely influenced by multiculturalism. And Walter Burkert has an excellent book out on Greek religion, verbal libations, wine libations to the gods, blood rituals, promises, oaths, all sorts of things, things to say before eating, death rituals, all kinds of stuff. And you also see those types of things showing up in Hebrew literature. So I guess prayer functions, and I've seen it happen, and it works in this segment. It works kind of like as a tool to help people in the process of, say, comfort and support from the group or from other people. So when my poor mother-in-law was dying in hospice, I did not waste any time reading her Psalms because I knew that was a great comfort for her. I did not waste any time finding a minister to come in. Did I believe it worked? In that instance, it worked for her psychologically, but it was a metaphor and a stand-in to tell her where she was at that particular time. She was a devout Catholic, so I'm not going to get a Protestant schmuck to come in and do a prayer. I'm going to probably get a priest, and we did. He came in, and that ritual was very comforting for her. I could tell, and she deeply appreciated that. So that it worked. So then you have the group giving you support. I got chest pains, right? So maybe Pastor Bob in the church prays for me. They come in and visit me. All the stuff that they're supposed to do. And, I feel better for that because not only am myself is going through this struggle, but I feel that the rest of the people are. And there might be some psychological aspects of people praying outside, a person not knowing. There's been 100 tests done by religious groups, and every one of them show, a 90% result improvement, of course. It all depends on who they pick and what they're doing, and both sides are biased, and so nobody knows, right? But I think that the problem that we run into is, I always said, gods have nothing to do with it. Only in literature and what you read about, those people don't exist. You might find on TV, 3 a.m. in the morning, radio preachers knocking people over in big coliseums in Vegas, right? They're not on the floors in the hospital setting people free or speaking the word and having people walk out the doors like in the New Testament. And we stress prayer and the will of God. Well, maybe, it's not God's will, it goes unanswered. One of the main things that caused people to follow Jesus and the apostles in the New Testament was the miracles. They actually seen stuff happening. So, are the righteous and just, are believers just any better off than non-believers today? No. Look in the cemetery, they're all filled up. You got non-believers dying of cancer, believers dying of cancer. So, all those things, it rains on the just and the unjust alike. So, sometimes you read about in literature where the deity might accept the prayer offering, but refuse to grant the request, send deceptive means, lying spirits, wrong kind of dreams and interpretations. Not only happens, against Ahab in the Hebrew text, but also it happened to Agamemnon in the Iliad. Zeus sent him a misinformed dream to go and, yes, I'm doing the will of Zeus, but it's for the wrong reasons. And it was out of the malice of the god that Zeus sent him headlong into war. So there's a whole bunch of things, and the behind the scenes doesn't play out very well in Hebrew because we don't know about the heavenly council and all that. Only in certain areas, like when the divine asks, who will go and lie to Ahab. So you see a little bit of heavenly council play out there. It's nothing like the background of the gods and men that you get in literature like the Iliad, the Odyssey, sections of the Aeneid, things like that. So in that aspect, I don't think it works. But person to person, the community supporting the person, very beneficial psychologically. And in that section, it works. However, what the church projects, you don't believe me that the church projects one thing to the secular community. They say, no, it doesn't work that way. It's misinterpreted, to us, the secular. However, when you go to a Wednesday night testimony meeting, the people there who are discouraged, they'll be talking about promises in the Bible. You can get these little promise box with 365 days of the year with little promises on them. And definitely, I have been through those boxes. And those verses, those promises about prayer being granted at the whim, are there. And people definitely, certain denominations, more than others probably, and certain belief systems more than others probably. It's not only a Christian problem, it's Abrahamic religions and others who use it definitely and feel that it does work. But to us, it could be fate or chance, either way. So I don't know. I think that the just suffer as the unjust. Here, the righteous Job was attacked, and another thing, I believe that. Let me slow down. Another thing I believe that a lot of times the way that the Greeks attributed both good and evil from the divine beings and Zeus, we used to attribute that from God in the Hebrew text, but Christianity pushed that off on Satan. So now all the good things come from God. Well, all the bad things that happen to me must be from the devil. But when you read the literature and kind of get into the mindset of Greco-Roman Jewish period, Josephus and all those kinds of things, you realize there's a lot more ideas going on in the background than people let on. So I think that's what's discouraging about it. So I think if there was some criteria on what it would be, and it was somewhat consistent, and you didn't have all these frauds and wretches of the worst kind giving everybody a bad name, and actually figuring out how prayer was supposed to work and what it's supposed to do, and get on the same page, then I think it would be easier to explain to the secular community. Right now we can't because it's so diverse. There's no set thing on how it should work and how it should not work, like you refer in your video and some of your comments. So I think that's a lot of the issue. But anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed that. Take care, and remember, if everybody's thinking alike, then somebody isn't thinking.